just staying.
Linda Noskova beat Alexandra Eala in straight sets to reach her first ever grass court final. And the score alone does not explain what really happened on that Berlin center court. 2 sets, 6-2, 6-4, 33 winners from one player, and a stunning 3-match winning streak from the other that came crashing down at the worst possible time. This is the real story behind that Berlin semifinal, and how it set up everything that came right after it. Before this match even started, Alexandra Eala was the player everyone in Berlin was talking about. She had walked into the Utah 500 event without a big seeding, and nobody expected much from her on grass, a surface she had barely played a full season on. Her first win came against Donna Vekic, the reigning Queen's Club champion, by a score of 7-5, 6-4. Then she beat the world's number 2 ranked player, Elena Rybakina, by that exact same scoreline. Then she took down world number 6, Elena Svitolina, 6-3, 6-4 to reach the semifinal. 3 dangerous names back to back to back. And she had not dropped a single set doing it. That is the player Linda Noskova had to face next, and it is exactly why this match mattered so much more than a normal semifinal. Linda Noskova had her own story going into this one. This was her first ever grass court final on the line, something pointed out directly during the match commentary. She had never made it this far on grass before, and beating Eala here would be the biggest test of her season so far. What almost nobody in the crowd knew yet was that just a few weeks later, Noskova would go on to lift the actual Wimbledon trophy. This Berlin match was the first real sign of what was coming, and it happened before anyone outside tennis was paying close attention. The first set opened tight. Commentary called holding serve an elusive commodity early on, meaning neither player could settle in easily. Both players traded shots that were described as heavy-handed and full of flat ball striking. One rally in particular got singled out as a feast of flat ball striking, the kind of point where both players just refused to miss. Then the match started tilting. Noskova found her rhythm at the net, with commentary praising her terrific net coverage as she started closing points out faster. One shot landed right on the line and drew a simple reaction from the booth. Just the word wow. That is the moment things started slipping away from Eala. By the time the first set finished, Noskova had built the kind of lead that changes a match completely. Commentary called her set-closing performance devastating, and pointed out she was striking the ball with total control. The set ended, and the commentary team did not hold back, calling it flat-out outstanding. One more line summed up the entire feeling in the arena. They called her performance a gem, the kind of set that makes people forget the other player was even ranked in the top 30 heading into this tournament. The second set followed a similar shape. Eala tried to fight her way back in, and there were flashes of the same aggressive game that had beaten Rybakina and Svitolina just days earlier. But Noskova kept finding answers. Every time Eala pushed forward, Noskova had a return ready. The match ended 6-2, 6-4, and by the final point, the commentary described it plainly, calling it a breakthrough performance for Noskova, because it marked her first ever final on grass. The numbers backed it up completely. 33 winners in total from Noskova, described on air as pure devastating ball striking. That is not a fluke scoreline. That is total domination in a match that was supposed to be close. What makes this loss even more interesting is what the commentary team said about Eala right after match point. They pointed out that she had illuminated center court all week in Berlin, meaning she had been the most exciting player to watch through her first 3 rounds. Then they added the part that stings the most for any player. She was not allowed to do that again in this match. Noskova simply did not let her get going. That single line explains the entire result better than any stat could. Here is where the story gets bigger than just one match. This Berlin loss did not slow Eala down at all. It happened right before her name became known across an entire country. Weeks later, she walked into Wimbledon and beat the defending champion, Iga Swiatek, in the 3rd round, winning a first-set tiebreak 7-6 before closing out the match 6-2. That win made her the first Filipino player in history, man or woman, to reach the 2nd week of a Grand Slam in the Open era. Her run at Wimbledon ended in the 4th round against Jasmine Paolini, a tight 3-set loss, 4-6, 6-4, 3-6. But that loss still pushed her ranking to a career high of world number 28. Alexandra Eala walked out as the 29th seed and beat 5 players in a row on grass, including the defending Wimbledon champion. No Filipino man or woman had ever reached the second week of a Grand Slam before her. She did it in front of fans who flew across the world just to watch her play. This is how Alexandra Eala made history at Wimbledon 2026. Before Eala hit a single ball at Wimbledon, the tournament was already talking about her. Serena Williams had accepted a wildcard into the singles draw. It was her first singles match in almost 4 years. Fans started asking one question. Could Eala end up facing Serena in the second round? To get there, Eala had to earn her spot first. A few weeks before Wimbledon, she was ranked outside the top 30 with no big Grand Slam run to her name. Then, she won the Birmingham Open on grass, fighting back from a set down in the final. Right after that, she went to Berlin and beat world number 2 Elena Rybakina, then beat Elena Svitolina in the very next match. Those 2 wins pushed her all the way to seed number 29. That made her the first Filipino player, man or woman, ever seeded at a Grand Slam. Now she had a seed, a reputation, and a first-round match that stood between her and a possible date with Serena. Would she even get that far? Eala opened her tournament against Renata Zaraza. The two knew each other well. They had even played doubles together at the French Open the year before. But Zaraza had also beaten Eala once, back in 2024. There was no revenge story left to write after this match. Eala won 6-1, 6-2 in just over an hour. She hit 22 winners. She won 16 of 21 points when she came forward to the net. It was her first ever main draw win at Wimbledon, and it did not look close. But her path to Serena was not settled yet. Serena still had to win her own first-round match against a rising Australian named Maya Joint. Maya Joint beat Serena Williams in the first round. That ended the Serena storyline before it could even begin. Instead of a legend, Eala's second-round opponent was Joint herself, a player 20 years younger than Serena and dangerous on grass. This match did not start well for Eala. She dropped the first set 3-6. A loss here would have ended her tournament early. She turned it around fast, winning the second set 6-2 and the third set 6-0. That result made her the first Filipino player, man or woman, to reach the third round of a Grand Slam in the Open era. She had already done something no one from her country had ever done. She was not done yet. Eala's third-round opponent was Iga Swiatek, the defending Wimbledon champion and a 6-time Grand Slam winner. This was not their first meeting. A year earlier, at the Miami Open, Eala had already beaten Swiatek in a tight 3-set match. That memory mattered walking into center court. The first set alone lasted 84 minutes. Eala was broken while serving for the set at 5-3, which could have flipped the whole match. Instead, she pushed it to a tiebreak and saved multiple set points before winning it 11-9. In the second set, she broke Swiatek's serve 3 times. Serving for the match, she faced 5 breakpoints in a row and saved every single one before closing it out 7-6, 6-2. After the match, Eala spoke about growing up in the Philippines, training after school with her brother and her grandfather, wearing worn-out socks and old shoes. She said the win meant more to her than it might to a player who had already won many Grand Slams. Then she added that being emotional did not mean she was satisfied, and that she wanted to keep winning. That win sent her into the second week of a Grand Slam, something no Filipino player had ever done before. Her ranking jumped toward a new career high, with a real chance to climb as high as world number 23 if she kept winning. Her fourth-round opponent was Jasmine Paolini, a player who had already reached a Wimbledon final the year before. This was not an easy draw, but Eala was not playing like an underdog anymore. She was playing like someone who expected to win. After Wimbledon, her story kept growing. She teamed up with Venus Williams for doubles, first at a tournament in Germany where they reached the quarterfinals together, then again at the Washington Open in the United States. A player who once idolized the Williams sisters was now sharing a court with one of them as a teammate.
Basically, Eala stayed strong and has a huge win for her third.
She fell to her knees on center court, and for a second the entire All England club just stopped breathing. Alexandra Eala, 21 years old, ranked 32 in the world, had just done something no Filipino tennis player, man or woman, had ever done in the entire Open era. She had beaten the defending Wimbledon champion, Iga Swiatek, 7-6, 6-2, on the most famous tennis court on the planet. If you are Filipino, drop it in the comments right now. because I need a second too before I tell you everything that happened out there. Let's set the stakes first, because you need to understand exactly who Swiatek is walking into this match. She is the reigning Wimbledon champion. Last year, she won this exact tournament by beating Amanda Anisimova 6-0, 6-0 in the final, without dropping a single game. She is a multiple Grand Slam winner across every surface, grass, clay, and hard court. Eala had beaten her once before, back in March 2025 at the Miami Open.
Second time in her career she's beaten a player with such a high ranking, and that is how good it feels.
And Swiatek had answered that loss by beating Eala right back at Madrid later that year. So walking into July 4th, 2026, on center court, the head-to-head sat at 1 win apiece. This wasn't a nobody catching a champion cold. This was a rematch that both of them knew mattered. The first set alone lasted 84 minutes. That is not a set, that's a full fight. Both players held serve early, refusing to give an inch, and then Eala broke through in the 8th game and served for the set at 5-3. 1 game away. And then Swiatek did exactly what defending champions do. She broke straight back, leveled it at 5-5, and dragged the whole thing into a tiebreak. And the tiebreak is where this match turned into an instant classic. Eala raced out to a 5-2 lead in the breaker. She was 1 point away from cruising the set. And then Swiatek reeled off 4 straight points to flip it, reaching set point at 6-5. One forehand from Swiatek, and the entire momentum of the match changes forever. She went for it. She missed. Eala survived the set point, and from there the two of them traded point after point until it was 9-9, with the whole crowd frozen. Eala closed it out 11-9 in the tiebreak, sealing the first set after an hour and 24 minutes of the highest quality tennis you will see at this tournament. You could see it on Swiatek's face in the changeover. Frustration, disbelief. This is a woman who has lifted 6 Grand Slam trophies, and she looked shaken. And then Eala walked out for set 2, and just took the air out of the match completely. She broke to love to open the set, held, broke again for 3-0, and then broke a third time to go up 4-0 against the defending Wimbledon champion.